So I come from a system engineering background, and I've been fascinated by cybersecurity for as long as I can remember. I think it's a bit of a personality thing as well, to be fair. I've always been attracted to troublemaking activities, as it were. So becoming a certified ethical hacker was a big milestone on that journey. It definitely gave me an overall understanding of the cybersecurity landscape and gave me a pretty good framework for getting started as a consultant, which I did for a couple of years in offensive security. One of the things that I love about offensive security and being an ethical hacker in and of itself is the fact that I always considered this to be a bit of a top gun of the IT industry. What I mean by that is very often you'd find yourself not knowing about a certain network device or an operating system or a specific type of software. And one moment you only briefly heard about it somewhere, and the next you're looking at the manufacturer's specs in trying to figure out how the software is built and what the vulnerabilities could be. So it requires very rapid learning, and it is therefore a lot of fun. It has benefited me greatly. Even though I'm not your typical cybersecurity professional, I've had a period of about 5 years where I've been actively involved in offensive security engagements. In these cases, the certified ethical hacker designation is extremely important because you're essentially signing a report with your credentials. So it is very important that way. It also, I believe, gives you a pretty good foundation of everything you need to know, from going through a penetration test to building the report and all of the different areas that need to be considered for this type of job as well. I will say that I've had subsequent training and certifications, as a matter of fact, both theoretical as well as hands-on. But the CEH was definitely what got me started on this path. And even today, where I don't work in offensive security anymore, with my current job, I oversee a team of solution engineers, and I interact with security teams across Fortune 500 customers all the time. Knowing what an attacker thinks like is extremely, extremely useful, even in this particular role. I believe it is extremely recognized. I know it's always been enough, like I said, when you're conducting a penetration test or an offensive security engagement, knowing that you have the relevant certification that is CEH has always been very, very helpful. In my organization today, it certainly helps to know that we have CEH on staff. In fact, we have one more since I've joined the organization. So it is an industry standard, I believe, in the offensive space. Absolutely, it did. Like I said, when I first got certified back in 2017, I believe I got started in offensive security and conducted a large number of engagements. As I'm sure you know, we can't really talk about most of the stuff because it's NDA protected, but based on the experience that I've had there, I started a pretty big public speaking journey. I've had the fortune to present at over 100 different conferences in about 20 countries, talking about vulnerabilities, IT security in general, mostly from a Microsoft perspective, as that's where my company is active today. One of my topics was actually building up on Kevin Mitnick's initial POC for tricking users into consenting to a rogue application and gaining a foothold in customer environments. So I've done a lot of these engagements over the years, as well as helped several nonprofit organizations with proper security reviews and assessments. It has been very, very helpful that way. Great, I'd be glad to. I started my career in IT about 15 years ago. I come from a systems engineering background, and like I said, I was always fascinated by cybersecurity. So when I first completed my CEH certification, I started an about 5-year journey into actual consulting for various enterprise customers. I've done penetration testing and offensive security review projects for a number of these customers. And where I am right now, I work as a senior VP for running solution consulting for Pan Agenda. One of our software products is actually an endpoint software called TrueDEM. It has been extremely important that we pay attention to the security ramifications of what we do here, since we have an endpoint agent that goes out. So part of what I do today is working with the CISO here at my organization, as well as coordinating with the security teams on the customer side. As they like to say it, they're the people that put no into innovation. So having that kind of experience, really becomes very valuable over time. And even though I don't find myself on the offensive front anymore, I see that it's a pretty typical career path for individuals to start out offensive and then end up somewhere on the defensive and the blue team side of things. That's kind of what happened to me.